Hello, Mango Babies. This is Jaffer Khan. Very excited the boys had me. What did we do? We talked about Palestine. We talked about dumbass comedians on social media. And we tried out our Trump impressions. Please watch.
Mango Bay, Mango Bay. Mango Bay. Mango Bay. Mango Bay. Mango Bay. Mango Bay. Your Mango Bay.
For the exclusive content, don't forget to join our Patreon at patreon.com/mangobay.
Mango Bay.
Welcome to Mango Bay.
Hello, one-stop shop for South Asian recklessness. We are two best boys who are brown comics in the scene in New York. Usama Siddiquee and Pranav Behari.
Behari, yes. We are the best boys.
Absolutely. We are on the patreon.com/mangobay. There's no stopping us ever. I think until we're dead. We're dead.
That is true.
And then once one of us dies, we'll AI bot the fucker and we'll keep it going.
If that's possible. AI isn't advanced enough yet.
But for our riffs?
It's going to have to be 30 years into the
Whoa.
future. There you're going to get some early access to our episodes. You get our hottest takes, even hotter. You get archived episodes from our first 200 or so episodes. You get bonus content. You get access to the Discord server. You get discounted tickets to our live shows.
It's popping off. So let's keep it going.
Get all the way in here, guys.
Today, good friend of the show, good friend of ours.
As we live and breathe.
We love our boy.
Very
It's
funny
Jo-
comedian,
very
satirist.
Saturday.
Yeah, I'll just say comedian.
I would
Just
come
say
on.
comedian.
I
Don't
think
do that to me.
Comedian
Please.
with a lowercase c, satirist with the all caps. I would say humorist. even.
Sitting with us is a not funny comedian.
Never.
Jaffer Khan.
See, that was him doing satire on what we just said.
God.
Amazing.
I'm leaving.
Well,
Fuck
you know what?
guys.
You do satire in a way that I love. I love your TikToks, by the way. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've told you this. Cops.
Oh,
Cops.
that. Yeah.
And it's very hypnotic the way you do it because you just
Yeah.
keep blurting out cops.
Oh, yeah.
With the new cops.
It's a nightmare to be my roommate. They're just hearing yeah.
Actually, every time I've been somewhere where Jaffer is, if you were always on the phone talking to somebody. I used to go to Natalie's house a lot to I needed internet sometimes. My internet was off, and every time I was in there, you'd always be talking, yelling,
Really?
with somebody on the phone.
I'm a big phone guy,
Phoning.
especially when I'm sad, which I
Yes.
was during that time, going through rough times,
Dude.
lockdown era.
Lockdown era.
And yeah, my boys back at home call,
Oof.
drink, just
Oof.
talking about my life.
Oh,
you
that's
know.
wonderful.
Dude, I remember being.
It's nice.
One time I even put my ear on the door.
I didn't know you were ever on
Yeah.
the other side of that room while I was
Because you were
confining with
getting
my
too
friends.
emo, loud and emo, Jaffer.
I miss my mom, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "This is fucking good."
It was.
Great.
it
Jaffer,
was
what's
a
your
lot of
handle on TikTok?
that. Jaffer Khan Comic.
Jaffer
Come
Khan
on in.
Comic. Come on in there.
Jaffer's a really smart ass dude. He's always
He is.
in the mix. He went to DC a little bit to do the show called Redacted.
I'm not that smart though. People think I'm smart because I was on Redacted tonight. Y'all are smarter than me. Y'all know more stuff than I do.
How so?
I was just looking at all the books you got on the
Okay.
Taliban poetry,
All
dude.
for
Well,
sure.
you know, listen.
But dude,
sometimes
right-
I got to seduce the
dude,
ladies, you
right-
know?
right
Pull
next
out
to
a
that-
bottle of Prosecco.
Right next to that is
You
Captain
know?
Underpants, though, as well. So this motherfucker's got all types of tastes, man. Eclectic man, my
Not
guy.
smart at all.
You know?
No,
He's got
y'all
the
are
game in
smart.
there,
Y'all
too.
are smart. But Pranav, you come off as smart. Osama comes off as dumb.
That's kind of
But
his
he's
brand.
doing this undercover thing. It's
I
kind
know.
of spooky.
It is a little bit. It's like, is this guy a sociopath or what's going on?
I'm done as fuck.
Yeah, dude. You can't trust the people who
I
are
know.
dumb on the outside but are plotting on the inside.
It's like the Andrew Schultz thing. It's like, Andrew Schultz is a smart dude, but he really, he's like dumb for pay.
One,
You know what I
one
mean?
time, Fumi on this podcast, or Mike, it was Mike. We were talking about something. I said something remotely intelligent, and Mike stopped his whole life.
Oh,
he was
yeah,
like,
I remember.
Usama,
I
you're
remember.
not a fucking loser.
You're not a dumbass.
You're not
it was
retarded?
like
What?
The guy who was just beatboxing a second ago.
But between the beatboxing, I was like, here's Schrodinger's cat theory or something.
Schrodinger's cat theory. Good. I'm glad we're back.
We went back.
Full circle.
Because you put the pressure on him to say something smart
to
sounding.
say the smart example.
Was that not
Schrodinger's cat theory.
If I do a riff inside a box,
There you go.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
maybe. Okay, so Israel, what's up?
Well, I don't know.
Shut the
First of
fuck
all,
up.
First of all, I just want
Don't
to
do
say,
Jaffer like that.
Look, we didn't
Okay,
see
okay,
each other
okay.
last week. Just want to wish y'all a happy belated Global Jihad Day.
Yes, I know.
Thank you so
I know.
much.
I
You
was-
came with the look as well.
This is how I look
came-
now.
You look like the brown Aragorn. You know what I mean?
No, I
like
don't- I don't.
that's like a Lord of the Rings thing.
never
Yeah.
got
Never got into Lord of the Rings.
Really?
I just saw the movies. I don't do that nerd shit.
I find them boring.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, really?
But you look like a word, maybe something out of Erdogan. I don't know.
Is there some sort of like
This is all very
underworld in
accurate.
Lord of the Rings where people with this skin color
No.
are in the movies?
This is all compliment, by the way.
These are all compliments.
He didn't call you an orc. Orc is the negative one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Or I don't know, something from like the Mahabharata or something.
Sure.
You know, because that's how they
Arjuna?
tie the hair like that. You
Yeah.
know?
I
he
do like
definitely
that.
You
has
got some
that.
like
Yeah.
Arjuna vibes.
Those guys are hot.
They're all pretty
Oh,
hot.
100%,
yeah.
dude. 100%. They make those guys hot in the pictures, too.
Yeah.
They're always like laying down in some
Lithe and
hot
kind of, yeah.
garden.
You know who I secretly want to be like deep down? This is me being vulnerable.
Okay.
When I was a kid, remember the Mummy, right?
Yeah.
He had the Arab, like the honorable Arab character with the sword, and he had
Has
the
to have a
long
sword.
hair and the
Yeah.
beard, and he he had honor and dignity, just like Arab, you know. Do y'all know who I'm talking about?
You're painting a picture.
But that when I was a kid, I was like, there is a Muslim guy,
Yeah.
you know,
Who was
on
this
a
guy?
movie,
Who was this guy?
and he was hot.
He was in
In
the
The
movie The
Mummy.
Mummy,
Yeah.
Was he the mummy? He was He was Imhotep?
played by Cheech Marin.
I don't think it's awesome when we were the villains in every story, dude.
No, he was the cool guy. He rode on a horse. He fought. He was a stoic.
Yeah.
He fought with
Yeah.
pride, and he was just a brown dude with long hair and a beard.
Being
was
stoic
hot.
was just
He
a way
was
of being
hot.
like, we don't know anything about Arabs. Let's just
Yeah.
keep him quiet,
Exactly.
and make him
Exactly.
stoic. You know?
I like some representation. You know what? I'm watching Avatar right now. The
Last
cartoon. The
Yeah.
cartoon.
So good.
For the first time with my
Hell yeah.
girlfriend. Absolutely love it.
Love it.
And they had a section, an arc, where they are basically with Muslims. They are the sandbenders. And I'm like, okay. But then you look at who the sandbenders are. They're stoic. They're intelligent. They figured out all this stuff about astronomy and stuff. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay. You know what? You can do the sandbenders.
Yeah.
There's
this
a whole-
Well, they
way.
do that in Game
I-
of Thrones too.
There's a
though.
whole arc in the Sandbenders where they start killing gay people as well. That's book 3 in Avatar. It's like really.
Oh
on
man,
the
haven't
nose.
gotten there
It's
yet.
really on
Haven't
the
gotten
nose
there
here.
yet. It's the modern sandbenders.
Sandbender does sound like a racial slur for Arabs.
It does, you know?
100%.
If someone ever called me a sandbender, dude, they would win the argument, dude. I'm like, you got it, dude. I love that. Thank you for that. Now proceed to beat whatever you're gonna do. You can do it now.
It all does seem like kind of racial, actually. Earthbender seems like, oh, you just work. You're one of those
They
peasants
are.
of the
Do
land.
you want to know what it is?
Cotton bender.
Yeah,
They're like that's
oh, look, a crime bender. That doesn't-
Well,
that doesn't
the-
make
they're
sense.
they're
law bender is what it would be called.
they're all Asia. So the Fire Nation. I'll have y'all guess who would Fire Nation be within the Asian countries?
Germans.
No, within the Asian countries,
countries.
obviously.
sorry.
Who
'Cause they're
were
evil.
World War II? Who were the Asian Germans?
It's the Japanese.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Fire Nation is Japanese.
Okay.
Got you. Yeah.
Earthbenders are Chinese.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
have
yes.
their Dali, which is like their like communism, like they have that. The Airbenders, the last Airbenders are Tibetan. And is that it? Oh yeah, the Water Nation, like they're
That's
dark
very
skinned.
true. It's very true.
Yeah.
And the waterbenders are like Scandinavian.
No, they're not because they're
immigrants.
dark skinned. They're like
Right.
Vietnamese.
Like Indian or something. Oh,
Yeah,
Vietnamese.
they're like southeast.
But they're from an ice tribe. Maybe you're right. I think you're right.
But they're all living according to Indian metaphysical ideas.
The
They all have
Avatar- the
bindis and
Avatar-
stuff too,
They
and all
do,
the
yeah.
energy stuff.
Avatar is a Sanskrit.
Avatar is a Sanskrit word, of course.
Oh, okay, I didn't
So,
know that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So is
Great,
Nickelodeon.
great with spirituality. That show. They do a good
Oh,
job.
yes.
It's for kids. and
You'd
they're-
like it. I think it's fun. It's a great.
No, I watched a little bit. My nephews love it.
a great
Yeah.
show.
My whole family actually loves Avatar. I'm the only one who doesn't watch it like they do.
You'd love it. You'd love it.
This is so embarrassing for me because I am so in love with this show that I'm interjecting it in all these conversations at bars, and now I'm on a fucking podcast. I just did it on a podcast.
I
So I want to apologize to your
Referencing a
listeners.
20-year-old cartoon.
Yeah. I want to apologize to your listeners for
Fuck that.
being
We
that
do
guy.
what we want here.
It's all good, dude. I do the same thing with SpongeBob.
Love SpongeBob.
So I'm a
dude.
SpongeBob fanatic.
Love
I've been before your
SpongeBob.
time or after your time. I was a SpongeBob head, and if girls love SpongeBob, I start going heavy into it. I go
Dude,
nerdy. I
yeah,
go,
dude.
okay, well, I'm gonna start a quote, and then you finish the quote.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't get it right, then I guess we're fucking done. And I'll start the quote, and
yeah.
usually if they get it,
And
I
then
get
their pussies dry up and they just leave.
yeah. I did
Top tier. SpongeBob is a top tier comedy.
Oh, 100%.
Here's a quote. SpongeBob.
Oh God! Don't do this. My guy's here. He doesn't
No,
watch
it's
it.
okay.
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 All
go.
right.
Isn't this great, Squidward?
We'll do a
Just
Buck
me,
Rogers one.
just me, you, and this brick wall you built in between us.
Oh yeah.
That's
comedy.
classic. You know, I do know SpongeBob because
you
my
do?
dad loved SpongeBob.
I love your dad.
My
so
dad,
much.
my dad used to watch SpongeBob
That's
with
so
my niece and nephew, and he got really into SpongeBob.
That's rare for an uncle, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Brown uncles hate
crazy.
that shit. They hate goofy
well, they don't-
joy.
My dad is like a great sense of humor. Like when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
like really little, he would put on Beavis and Butthead while we
Yeah.
were watching dinner.
That's
and
crazy
My dad has like
amazing.
a great sense of humor.
Well, most dads on the Muslim side, they start watching SpongeBob. They're like, bikini bottom, I don't like. What is this? It sounds sexy. When I was
They
a
see
kid,
SpongeBob. They see SpongeBob. They're like, this is not man.
this is God. Hey, you know, Muhammad who cannot be drawn, and neither can this. Neither can this be happening. The shaitan is acting under the Asiyas, right? Yeah, no Muslims like bikini. I was also a Muslim kid back then when it came out, and I was very scared to enjoy it because I saw Bikini Bottom. I was like, "This dirty show, this is bad people."
So you were jerking off
you
to
grew up real
Bikini Bottom.
Muslim.
Yeah. Now I go to Pornhub and type in SpongeBob. And see what happens, you know. So anyway, you're fucking.
I know Palestine. I know
Palestine.
why Usama calls me like a few hours ago, just like, "Hey, bro, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got to get you on. We got to get you on this show." I'm like, "Yeah."
It was my idea.
The worst stuff in the world is happening right now. Got to get Jaffer. We got to
Listen.
get Jaffer to do the most least funny episode, the most unfunny episode in our history.
We want your take. We know your take.
Yeah,
But we want you to
yeah.
express your take on Mango.
I
you
did
know.
call him and say, Palestine.
Should we condemn? What
LOL.
should we condemn? I know
Well,
we condemn.
first of all,
every
can you
episode
denounce
we
Hamas before we start, just for the
we,
algorithm?
We at Mango Bay condemn the loss of all precious civilian life.
Denounce Hamas,
Wow.
Jaffer. Do it, Jaffer.
Going both ways, huh? That's not why I got you on here.
Listen, you didn't.
But
you
let
didn't
us
denounce
also
Hamas yet.
acknowledge that Hamas is a creation of Israel.
There we
When
go.
you trap people, so that precious loss of life,
We walk away slowly. We attempt
there's
to,
only one side to point the finger at when you lock people in a cage. Are you happy?
Well, you know
Is
what?
this why y'all brought me on?
Well,
really?
nobody else brings up the
Are you
fact-
happy now?
No one else brings up the fact that it's not just circumstantially that they helped. They helped to literally create the organization of Hamas.
I didn't want to go full redacted tonight, but yes.
They literally did. It's the same fucking play. I was
Same
posting last
playbook
night.
the British did.
Listen,
divide
this
and
is-
conquer. That's what they did.
This is just 9/11 part 2.
Yeah.
You know, terror organizations that we create, then come back, decide to get a little snippy with us.
blowback is what they call
We
it.
call
That's
it
the hot
blowback.
new phrase
that's,
for it.
That's
yeah.
the phrase. This is the
bit of
blowback.
blowback.
Little bit of blowback.
Little
when
bit.
you were doing redacted.
Sounds like an R&B song, actually. You know? I'll give it that blowback.
When you were doing all that redacted, every time you had to go into these fucking horrific stories and find some shit that was funny, and you couldn't really have a take, right? It was more like, well, here's some jokes about this horrific thing.
No, it was. The take was just like the leftist take.
Right.
Like we knew like what our political perspective was generally, so we had a take, but it was like the take that you would make as like a good leftist.
Right.
You know.
So and then Russia had owned this station
Oh yeah.
of leftist
and then
people.
the Ukraine thing
Oh, yeah,
happened,
dude.
and then
Once my boss Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, I had to come back to New York without a job. But hey, that's just showbiz, right, guys?
The idea
That's
of, like,
how it goes.
Putin as like a Michael Scott style leader.
yeah,
Hey guys, we got kombucha on tap.
he's
Be
dancing.
nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but you know, I'm happy to be back in New York.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back in New York.
Yeah, that was I don't even think you left. For me, you didn't even leave.
I was
Well, it's
gone
'cause
for
it
a
was
year.
Yeah, it was just a year.
1
me-
year.
Jaffer was in on a long phone call in his house.
Yes.
And then he came back out. He's like, hey guys, I'm back to be.
I didn't know we've shared so many moments together than I even
Jaffer
realized.
were.
Usama's the king, though, being able to pull out, extract any moment from anybody who comes on. He's like, I remember that one time. were taking piss next to me. The fucking grizzly bear bathroom.
Remember like 2 lives ago, dude? We were like,
I was like,
hanging
this
out.
guy's
Spring break.
based on the acoustics. I was like, Jaffer's got a fucking huge dick. That's what I remember. You don't
I
remember
was
that?
in the stall next door. I just
Yeah.
hang out in that stall.
And thus our friendship began.
Yeah.
A long storied history. No, it's always interesting. I've known you for a long time. We're just such a weirdly opposite but like loving little duo.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember one time he called me. He was like trying to figure out front-facing videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he
The
was
king- the king
he said
over
everything
here.
besides you're dumb and it works.
Yeah.
So he's like, you do this thing, where you like
You do this thing that
where you-
10-year-olds
where you
love.
just sort of blubber about on a screen. How do you make it so natural? You being stupid as fuck. And I'm like, well, Jaffer, you have to stop being smart. And then he's like,
To me, the funny part of it was I was like, so yeah, how do you do it? I noticed that you make sure like you have good lighting,
Yeah.
you're making eye contact with the thing. You, I'm sure you do a bunch of takes and you like zoom in when you emphasize it, and you were just like, yeah, that's what I do. And I was like, okay, I just have to be good. All right.
I think I gave you the advice of like, Jaffer, stop being you for 1 second. Where it was like, you're overthinking it and just go and do it.
Yeah, well,
You're a thinker.
I would say mine, which is complimentary to you.
Yeah.
You're just very good on camera.
That's
I know
true.
that's something that some people are good at it naturally. Some
Yeah.
people worked hard at it. I have to work hard at it. So I've gotten better at doing this, but it's getting good at being on camera. It's a skill.
That's true.
Because stand-up doesn't really give you that skill.
No, it doesn't.
No. Something like it really does fuck you up a little bit.
It was very difficult starting Mango Bay because he was immediately very telegenic and just
Oh, yeah.
knew how to work the camera, and I was not used to it at all.
Yeah. The
It
guy
took me-
who's secretly a genius
I
is
know,
always
exactly.
the guy who knows how to make love to the camera.
Pussy is good. It's just a pussy.
Yeah.
The lens is a pussy, and you gotta eat, and it's bon appetit. You know what I'm saying? I disagree too. I think you were fucking fine.
No, at the beginning I was just like, welcome to Mango Bay. And then I would just like try to focus on you because I'd have to talk.
I think in the beginning we were so nervous. We were like, our first words on
We-
Mango Bay was like, fuck Croatia.
Yeah.
I think.
That was,
That was our
well,
first
our
riff.
first episode. We were just like, welcome to Mango Bay. You're like, welcome to Mango Bay.
It's a wild podcast of ne'er-do-wells. We look like virgins. We look like fucking virgins the entire time.
It's true.
Dude, my clips on Redacted, especially the early ones, like I'd never regularly been on camera like that before.
Yeah.
This was really my first time being on camera, and it's like I can't watch them. And like
yeah.
since I only really got on TikTok was because Redacted got taken away, and then like sort of like this manic thing. I was like, I gotta keep doing this.
Yeah.
So I started doing it on TikTok, and it's still being on camera.
Yeah.
And I've continued. Now I'm like a little bit I can be on camera, and I was like, damn, I could really do an okay job at Redacted now.
Yeah,
Now that
I-
it's-
you were doing a great job then, though.
I appreciate that,
You
but
know?
really,
Yeah.
I was
A little scared.
As far as just being
Yeah.
on camera, I was a newcomer at it.
Yeah.
Now,
Gotcha.
now I'm a little
Gotcha.
bit.
And that kind of camera is different though too from just with the phone too, like because that's just like, oh, this is a big camera,
yeah.
and I have to say this, and it's gonna reach probably
And
millions of people.
and you have to nail it because the way the studio time worked and just the way the building worked and the way all the shows operated together, you had a window.
Yeah.
So you did have to kind of nail it, like two or
Yeah.
three takes.
It was like a very Putin-esque atmosphere. Of
It
just
was
very
it was.
stringent.
Yeah.
Did you think about Putin every time you walked into that door?
I
Like I would just be like,
towards
Russia,
the end
Russia,
more
Russia,
so.
Russia.
Yeah, towards the end definitely more so.
Do you think Putin's ever watched you on camera and been like, this guy's
Yeah, it's good.
No, because
This guy cracks me up.
it was like Russia had like their own state-run media.
Yeah.
We were like state-funded media.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're not really giving a shit what we're doing because we're doing it to Americans.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
They're like yeah. So you could be nice, whatever. Not.
Well, I
it's really
figure
their
they-
own people. They are more.
Maybe he's like a
concerned
Lorne
about.
Michaels type character though, who's keeping tabs on all the talent across his various
It could have been.
ventures.
They even
you
kind of
know?
look alike in
Yeah.
a weird
Yeah,
way.
they do.
Like,
definitely
This
the same
kid
vibe.
is good.
hey man,
He's
Good,
good.
good.
He's getting better.
Yeah.
you
Don't
know,
kill
Vlad
him.
Putin's like, Pete
Don't poison him with
Pete
polonium.
Davidson, good on you, man. Kim Kardashian, that's good. That's good stuff.
Good stuff. The West.
Jaffer, how's your mental health been lately? Because things have been fucking popping off.
Oh, that's a great question. Really bad.
Oh, really?
This is always an issue I've cared about. My second piece at Redacted was
Yeah.
about Palestine. I was about to when the Sheikh Jarrah thing was happening. So Yeah, it's been tough.
No.
I've been out here. One thing that was funny was like I was outside listening to the one y'all were just doing. I don't know if it's peek behind the curtain, and y'all were like making fun of the comedians who were just like posting text on Instagram and stuff. And I was like, that is me. Y'all are making fun of me right now.
Well,
I'm
no.
right here, guys. I'm about to be sitting down
we
with
were
you.
making fun
How
of
dare
comedians,
you?
specifically Indian comedians, who were feeling the need to just come out and say something and just be like simp for Israel. Which I always find, we can get more into that when behind the Patreon wall, but that's mostly what we were making fun of, and that whole episode is going to go on Patreon. So
because people were being like, I want to thank Israel, but mostly Jerry Bruckheimer for all my help. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's like I support Israel because Jews have helped me with my career, which is both pro-Israeli and anti-Semitic.
Dude, that was
at the
one of my
same
favorite
time.
things. I had literally comedians message me because they felt bad.
Yeah.
And they were like, I just don't want to look anti-Semitic because I'm worried about my career. I'm like, that is anti-Semitic, dude.
I love how you're like some sort of like a beacon of hope for like these guys.
People don't know what to do, and
Jaffer, don't
my
judge me.
DMs are fucking flooded right now. Dude.
I love it.
They're like, I don't want to be anti-Semitic because then the Jews who run Hollywood and control the banks will cancel my life.
But they're not even that smart. They're like, Jaffer, are Jews gay? They don't even know what to ask. They're so
Dude,
stupid.
yeah.
Jaffer, I think
I've
my
been-
neighbor's a Jew. I keep hearing scratching on
What
the
do I
wall.
do? On Friday, I don't see a light from their door. What's going on here? They're just
Have you been getting hostile DMs?
Oh yeah, it's been rough. Both just digesting just the tragedy of it all, and then I've been fucking on social media and what I've been choosing to do with it is like I haven't on TikTok is where I have a big following, and it's where I'm just exclusively just being funny, being a comedian, and I don't really know how to really be funny on this. So on TikTok, I'm just like reposting the actual smart people who are making good, smart people, that type of content.
right.
On Instagram, the way I look at this shit, where it's like we are so powerless to do anything about this. The options we have is very like, I've been going to rallies, I've been like doing the letter to your senators, whatever, sending money, and then it's like, if the only options we have are ground up, then at least I can yell at some of my friends on Instagram who are really looking at these sort of pen wars of words and are really trying to figure out how they feel. And I was like, I guess I'll just do this. But that also is very stressful because it's coming with all this like people being angry and stuff.
And you're feeling urgency to be like, no, you have to understand this. You have to understand this.
Yeah, and like defending all these like insane. I remember like the first thing I did this is when this first started bubbling up. And at this point it hadn't like a couple people had been killed. Like just kind of a thing that happens over there.
Right.
And also something that literally happens in Palestine every day, right? I also, because I work with Mondoweiss, which is like a Palestinian, I'm actually making content that's highlighting that all these deaths, all these children being killed every day. And so then this happens, and all these people are like, oh.
Yeah.
So of course it's sad, but like given the whole context of this thing, like the outrage is absurd if you compare it to. So I made my little dumbass meme about it, which once it really came out what was actually happening. I deleted the dumbass meme and I got serious. But at first it had this meme, and like people were so angry, like, and these are like edgy comedians, the edgiest of comedians are now yelling at me. They're like, an old lady died, Jaffer. One old lady died. How could you even joke about this right now? And then they go to their Twitter with their outrage, but they're like edgy comedians about it.
Who are they?
They're like, these Palestinians are retarded, and these people need to stop. I'm not gonna say who it is. They know who they are, and
They don't actually know who they are at all.
they know who they are. These are people who are directly like DMing me and like making comments, and then the numbers got bigger. So now they're doing all the, hashtag I stand with Israel, I stand, which again just shows to me it was funny seeing it because these are like. They are like being insane, but these are still liberal comedians.
Yes, of course.
Who care about how they look on social media and mostly want to be on the right side of things
Right.
before anything else,
Yeah.
right? And so they're doing the I stand with Israel because they're actually ignorant, because they're actually idiots, and they don't realize how terrible this post is going to look in literally just a few days.
Yeah.
Like, they have no idea. Like, I stand with Israel, and whatever, I'm sure, reasonable, measured response they will have to this attack.
Right.
And it's like, you don't know, you're going to look ridiculous in a few days, and now
Well, you know
here
what I
they
thought
are.
was kind of smart was as untoward as it felt to people when, like, the day that happened on Yom Kippur or whatever, that all the pro-Palestinian people flooded the streets. And I thought that was actually kind of smart because they're trying to get ahead of what the discourse is actually going to be about. And then thus you're forcing people to engage with that. And I used to be hardcore on the Palestine beat. I used to read Mondo Weiss, Electronic Intifada, all that shit. And this is the first time I've seen ever in the history in the United States of seeing a critical mass of people who are very vocally pro-Palestinian. It's been very surprising. And
Is that a media thing, like social media?
Social media.
It's a social
100%.
media thing,
Yeah,
but I think it's
everything's heading
also just like a continued, effort of activism and education and advocacy that's happened over the years because you've had so many groups now, Code Pink and everybody, all the actors involved getting involved. I was shocked, and I was talking to a friend of my old girlfriend from Lebanon, and she was really upset about everything. And I was like, look, on the bright side, no. When have you ever seen pro-Palestine protests like this happen before?
That's
you know,
wild.
like the discourse is evening out a little bit. Like there's still Israel is still kind of king of the airwaves.
Oh yeah,
You
100%.
know?
Yeah,
But
I-
social
you
media-
just gotta
seen
do what
the-
you can, and
Yeah.
that's
Dude.
it might feel silly, but whatever you can is better than. And y'all know how, you all know like manufacturing consent and like all our politicians, and so just humoring some of the conversations of people, and I'm glad to do it that are just new to all this. One conversation I kept getting that was so funny to me was they kept being to me like, Jaffer, at least it's nice that at least Trump's not in office right now. Well, isn't that nice? And I'm like, who gives a shit, dude? How could you give a shit about
Okay,
that
here's a controversial
right
hot
now?
take. I think if Trump were in office, he would have probably.
Well, so I because what they're saying is that Trump, what would he have said? He would have dehumanized the Palestinians in this crazy amount. And I'm like, where I think you're going, like, well, Trump's a wild card. We don't know what Trump will ever. Trump might come out and just be like, I like Hamas.
Dude, you know what?
They're-
The thing about it, this past week, Trump came out and was like, don't really like Bibi Netanyahu. He was like, he disappointed me. He wasn't enthusiastic enough about the hit on Soleimani. And he was like, didn't like it. To me, that's like an almost radical thing for any American politician to say.
I like Hamas. They got a great leader, Yahya Sinjar. I was playing golf with him. Great guy. And I was listening to these guys talk and hearing their side of things, and I'd be pretty pissed off too. So I stand with Hamas. I stand with the Islamic Jihad. I stand with the Lion's Den and the brave fighters of the Jenin refugee camp. And then all of his followers would be like, you know what? I never really looked about
It's
it.
true.
That. When you have an occupation, resistance is kind of justified.
Exactly.
Trump is like,
This is their January 6th moment.
Trump is like one of those like open mic comedians with like a disjointed set list. You know what I'm talking about? So he'll say all these things like Hamas rocks. Now on to trans people. Because he had like this one take today. He was like, I talked to LeBron and we're going to have a basketball team of only women.
That's an old clap, but I love
But
it.
it's like, he's just getting in that space. He's just wherever
He's
the,
just
He's
a
a
wherever the
comedian.
party
He knows
is.
how to ride the wave.
He's wherever
too.
the party is.
He's
You know
just
what
a
I'm saying?
comedian.
Remember
dude.
when this is my favorite moment of Trump, like truly being a stand-up comedian. Like, remember when he got in trouble for calling like some football players like sons of bitches?
Vaguely, maybe, yeah.
He did it at a
That's a story all of a sudden.
yeah. It's like right. We forgot about that. That's nothing, right? But everyone like in print, they were like, he said sons of bitches to these football players. But if you watch the clip, he's at a rally doing a gig, right? And he doesn't just get there. He just starts like shitting on some football players, and the crowd loves it.
Yeah.
So then he
Right.
sees, okay, so he starts riffing.
Right,
He starts riffing, and they keep loving it more.
get comfortable.
And there's like hot, whap, whap. And he's like, these sons of bitches. They're like, oh. And I'm like, dude, I get it. He just riffed too hard a little bit.
Yeah, he
the
did.
crowd was hot. He took it a little too
Been there.
far.
Yeah.
And you gotta,
My favorite
Been
was his
there.
recent moment where he was like, indict the motherfucker. Did you guys see that
What
one?
is this?
He was just doing like a rally or a speech or whatever, and he's talking about how, all the kind of politically motivated indictments or whatever. And he's just like, they know crooked Joe Biden doesn't stand a chance. They know I'm leading in the polls. They know I'm going to win. So what do they say? Let's indict the motherfucker. And I'm like, this guy's hot.
This guy watched Pulp Fiction that day.
Like, this guy's
It was
hot,
still in
dude.
his brain a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, Trump would be a nice levity, honestly, at this point.
I think Trump would. I mean, whatever. I think Trump would definitely. I mean, because we wouldn't.
It's
be able
always
to-
comic
Watch out,
relief.
Watch out.
You'll say I'd say it's always comic relief.
Watch out.
For what it's worth, which is very little.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a fun chuckle. And then you realize there's massive repercussions. to
Yeah,
what he's saying.
we're chuckling. Meanwhile, us three of us are in a prison cell.
Exactly.
He is funny though. We're like walking up to the one by one, walking up to the noose. Yeah,
Getting our
like-
nipples clamped
Yeah.
to a car battery.
Yeah, he is funny.
More BDSM coming up in a second on the Patreon.
Your mango bay.